Writes, what's up with the drones, man-made or alien? I think they're U.S. military drones that have been brought out on reconnaissance missions because of concerns about dirty bombs and concerns of retaliation by Iran and Russia. And the reason we feel that way is because America and the West plans on removing Putin from power, and they plan on removing Khamenei from power in Iran. So what that means is that there's if you look at the math, Joel, or anybody who has this question, and I've shown it to you guys, but for those of you who are just tuning in, the math, when I do a technique which is called HCRV, heart-centered remote viewing, and we go into a deep meditation, and then we try to look at things objectively. And one of the things I did after October 7th was I tried to stand back and look at the world objectively. What do we have to do so that less people die? Could we work out a peace accord with Iran and Russia like they're talking about, the Abraham Accords? And the conclusion of that meditation was that the only way we get to peace is if Putin is removed from power and tried in The Hague. Certainly he has to be removed. And the same is true for Assad, Syria, which is part of the axis of evil. Don't like to call people evil, but Syria, Iran, and Russia really are considered the axis of evil. So if you follow the trajectory of just how do we keep the most people alive, it means that the West plans on taking out Putin. So we're not going to have a conversation with Putin. We're not going to say, I'm sorry that we couldn't work things out. Maybe we can have a cup of coffee and talk about it. That's not going to happen with the United States and Putin. And it's not going to happen between the United States and Iran. The math shows that that is not a possibility. The math shows that the only possibility is that either we win or they win. Because if you make peace with them and you give them an arms deal, which is what Obama did, the weapons were then used to build up Hezbollah, which attacked Israel from the north via Lebanon. So all the money that they got from the Obama deal, they were able to build up their arsenal. So the conclusion from that is, well, we can't make a deal with them because they're so committed to wiping us off the map that there's no deal to be made. And that's what we also found when we looked at From Russia with Love and Glasnost and trying to do great business with Russia. They still wanted to destroy the United States even after the fall of Russia. They changed the KGB name to the FSB, but the agenda was the same: take out the West. We're the big bully on the block, and so everybody wants to mess around with Slim. You don't tug on a Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim, right? Until Slim showed up, right? So for many people, for many leaders, America is like Jim, the pool boy, who's making problems with everybody. So what's the problem with that? Everybody wants to fight Jim. They want to take on Jim. You took all my money, and it may sound funny, but I come to get my money back. And everybody said, Jack, don't you know? You don't tug on a Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with USA, dun, dun, or Israel, right? And that's interesting because if you look at Putin, right, we're looking at Putin. Putin is one of the people that he is the main person that organized. Oh, why am I looking all shady there? It was Putin that organized October 7th, right? And October 7th was a pogrom to kill the Jews in honor of his birthday, October 7th. And so what he decided to do, because he was mad at Israel, was he decided that he was going to have an old-fashioned pogrom. Putin did. And so he had Hamas meeting with him, choreographing it, and they were meeting with Iran. So if you put yourself in the shoes of Netanyahu, and if you put yourself in the shoes of Israel, the question you have to ask yourself after October 7th, if you really understand what happened on October 7th, is Israel going to take out Putin? Is Putin an arch enemy number one? The answer is yes. Does Israel always get their man? Yes. They have the top security in the world, and countries all over the world hire Israel to do their security. Are they going to take out, is arch enemy number one, who they used to have a good relationship with, are they, it's interesting, Netanyahu thought he had a good relationship with Putin. October 7th changed that. And so I believe that Netanyahu will take Putin out. I feel that I am a humble person, and so if I use my ability to help people, I'm willing to admit when I screw things up. And so if I sent this to the IDF in December, right? So December 20th, the IDF had a person. I did the remote, and then I did the math, which meant I spent 3 days on computers, and I started looking at historical data on tribal warfare, etc. And so then I just looked at it as an anthropologist. Okay, what's the most likely outcome? Somebody has to lose and somebody has to win. You can't keep crippling your enemy and then they just become more and more determined that they want to kill you. You either take them out or you don't. And we've gotten to the point where we're going to take them out. And so it's a very scary time right now, because for me and anybody who's following the math, like Joel, who watches The Enforcer, so do I, by the way. The Enforcer is actually pretty good. You're sitting there on bated breath, right? Right, Joel? Because we know the math. We know they got to get to ceasefire. We know that, look, Hamas doesn't want Israel to keep the Philadelphia quarter. Of course we're keeping the Philadelphia quarter. We're doing the rebuild. We're rebuilding Gaza. The war is over. That's all. Hamas will never rule Gaza again. It's all over. The United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia and Arab peacekeepers are coming in. That's all over now. It's becoming Canada, folks. It's becoming the Canada of the Middle East. Hamas has currently 100 Israelis held hostage. They say 20 or 30 are still alive, right? They need to take that deal because it's the best deal they're going to get. Because if they don't take that deal, Israel will continue to bomb the crap. There is no other deal on the table for Hamas. You need to go because we've already done the math. You go. You can take your henchmen with you. We'll let you live. Go to Algeria. Go to Turkey. It was war. People will forgive you because you were soldiers fighting in war. Go have a nice life in Algeria. Go to Morocco. But you can't stay here. We're very, very close to seeing a deal in Gaza with Hamas because they've already started to account for the hostages that are going to be exchanged. So we're very close. They have to accept their fate. They're never going to rule. They're going to have to let it go. And this is something interesting you see also when you go into the energy of Assad, who used to rule Syria. is I feel when I put myself into Assad's shoes, like my allies are going to help me get my country back. Well, come on, you guys. Well, we got to go back in there, Russia. I believed up until the very end that I was going to get Syria back. I believe as Assad in my mind that this is not forever. I'm not losing my country forever. This is ridiculous. Russia's going to come in. Iran's going to come in. Turkey, these people are going to come in and they're going to give me my country back. I assume that this is temporary. So there's real denial going on with Assad. This is not temporary. If the United Arab Emirates and other countries have to come in and help them build a parliament, they will. Israel will take the mountain for security reasons, and also the Druze have requested that they get Israeli citizenship. They want to be annexed. They are afraid that Muslim extremists will harm them. The Druze and the Kurds want aliyah. They want to become Israeli. They will serve, we'll do whatever. Just take the land, that's our territory, take the mountain, do what you got to do. We want to be Israeli. And so that's probably what's going to happen. A lot of people were mad at Israel for the incursion, but if we don't take a buffer zone, and the people that we're taking in are pro-Israel, they're not Muslim extremists, that's probably what will happen. All right, let's go ahead and open the floor to some more questions. So in answer to the drones, I believe the drones are U.S. military drones, and I think that they're able to scramble things so that it's hard to get a visual on them, which scares people. I think that they are a special type of drone that is used to help with detection of chemicals and nuclear weapons, etc. So if you were to go to, say, Grok or any computer, I like Grok. I know you guys are mad at Grok because Grok was developed by Elon Musk team, but it's a great okay, tell me about military drones that detect chemicals and radiation. Okay, so here is some information about all of that. You can just go to, this is why I love ChatGPT and I love all those computers, because you get all these nice answers really quickly. But military drones equipped to detect chemicals and radiation are pivotal for various defense, security, and environmental monitoring tasks. Here's an overview. They can detect radiation, Comatic Drone Solutions, U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, HB Nuclear Detection Drones. Chemical detection, U.S. Nuclear Corpse Drone, RAD, application, challenges and considerations, etc. So you can go ahead and just Google this ChatGPT and find out information about various different drones. So it looks scary when we see these drones that can scramble their image so that they don't get detected or go dark. They're U.S. military. And kudos to us, America, for having some of the most advanced drones, America and China, the most advanced drones in the world. So that's why it's hard to get a visual on them, because they've been developed so to move in a way that makes it hard to get a visual on them. But they are meeting FCC requirements. They have both the red and the green light flashing at night, which is what drones are. So they're obviously in compliance. These aliens are very law-abiding. And what you're seeing with them spraying, if they are military drones, which I believe they are, is they're spraying to check for chemical residue. So they'll spray at night and then they'll check to see if they get a glow or whatnot. And they're looking for traces of weapons. So what do they think may have happened? That weapons may have been smuggled into New Jersey and other states, which puts people like number 47 at risk, right? His life is at risk, Bedminster. So what we're seeing is military drones coming off of U.S. aircraft. Some of them are aquatic too. They can leave the hulls of ships and then go airborne, which I just think is incredible. So we don't like to be public about the advancements of U.S. military drones. But what I believe people are seeing that's so spooky in the sky is U.S. military drones. I believe that the spraying is U.S. military drones testing areas to see if they can get weapons detection, just like when your hands get wiped down when you go through the airport. And so what they're seeing, oh my God, the aliens are spraying us. No, it's just a U.S. military drone that has secured an area where they think, we got to check to see if there's any weapons or explosives that are being made somewhere. They can also test for drugs like fentanyl, so they can spray and detect for certain chemicals like fentanyl. So aliens are not, look, this is why I'm not as popular as other readers, because it's not as fun. Look, I could make something up and I could say that aliens have come, the aliens are here, and that the intergalactics are going to protect us, protect our nuclear sites. One of the things they do is they go to nuclear sites and they test to see if there's radiation leak at certain nuclear sites. That's also one of the things that they do, which I think is really cool. So we'll see them floating around nuclear sites. Oh my God, it's a UFO over a nuclear site. Reality is not as interesting as the idea of intergalactics coming and rescuing us. I know. The flashing red and green lights gave it away for me. That was it. That was it for me. When I heard FCC compliance, I thought, you know what? This story is so over for me.